Everybody exhale. My heart is still palpitating. NC State goes out west, earns the win over Cal 24-23. I hate NC State.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And if you know me, that comes from a place of love. But these types of games, man, I'm going to get gray hair, and I am only 29 years old. Far too soon for that.
At least you still got hair to go gray, man. At least you still got hair to go gray.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to your post-game Saturday Live. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Our post-game live is sponsored by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. If you're back on the NC State bandwagon, you may be looking for homecoming tickets. That is the next game on the schedule. Head on over to Gametime. Wow. How's everybody's Saturday night doing? Feels good to win one for once, huh? NC State goes out west, stunned the Cal Golden Bears by a score of 24-23. Yeah, I'm having trouble breathing, Kenton. I'll let you take it from here.
I mean, what a time. What a time. You're right. Say what?
You're good.
Oh, yeah. What a time. What a time. You're absolutely right in terms of who isn't breathing through a paper bag right now, except the people who've already given up on the season. Because then, I know as a Lions fan, when you reserve like, hey, we're probably going to lose every game, you don't worry. You're just like, whatever happens is nice. But this was absolutely a game where, I mean, it felt like a typical NC State game in so many ways, right?
To the core.
It felt like a game that we've seen, a movie that we've seen. The 4th and 1 at the end of the game with like less than 2 minutes left. In my mind, I'm like, I'm going up to my offensive line and I'm saying, whatever has happened up to this point doesn't matter. Whatever we think we have been up to this point does not matter. If we can get one stinking yard, we're going to get right, church, and let's go home, as the Saints would say. And so I look at this moment and say, as soon as they punted that ball off, I said, we are so cooked. We are so done.
Yeah, I think every single one of us had that same thought.
This is over. You could have literally just gotten, do you know how long a yard is, Grayson?
What was it, 3 feet?
3 feet. Less than half of my body. You could have gotten that, and you would be there. You would be where you need to be. But I'll tell you what, now's not the time to lament on that. Now's the time to celebrate a damn win.
Yes.
Celebrate first ACC win of the season. What a time. What a time. What a moment. And I'll tell you this, you avoid complete and utter calamity by saying Cal's first ACC win was over you guys.
Yeah.
It was over you. Guess who's also 0-4 in the ACC? You are. That's who. And I'll tell you this, CJ Bailey is growing up right in front of our eyes.
Absolutely.
It has been one of my life's greatest joys to watch this young man develop from game 1, from when he came in against Louisiana Tech, from first game starting against Clemson, from Wake Forest game losing interception, from that to what we have in front of us today. Oh my God. What an honor and privilege it is to get to watch that. And the last thing, and I'll pass it back to you. People in the comments are talking about Davin Van and all that good stuff, and he's phenomenal. He's an animal. We know what he is. But the X factor to me was not just Hollywood Smothers. It was, were you going to force feed him the ball?
Mm-hmm.
Because that is a running back and get it done. And lo and behold, he puts up not 1, but 2 back-to-back 100-yard games because you force-fed that man the ball. That was what you had to do. And one thing that I'm not sure if everybody heard it or not, but in the post-game, and I'm not saying this as a negative, so don't nobody try to spin this as something it's not. In their post-game comments, right? In the post-game comments, there's a mic in front of CJ Bailey's face. How do you feel? How'd you get this done? And one of the things he said was, having a running back like Hollywood back there,
I heard this.
I now have a guy I can trust to bust the big one. It's so important. Guys feel it. They feel when you're at that moment where it's like, hey, if we get this guy the ball, he could be even leaving any moment. Hollywood Smothers is definitely that guy. And again, like we've talked about time and time again, he is that guy that just keep giving him chances. Keep giving him chances. And I know it isn't 100 on the ground. There's 87 of those were through the air. But look at what he does when you get him the ball. Hollywood to Raleighwood. What a hell of a connection. That man's balling.
Yeah, and I had that tweet in the middle of the game. You could tell, you could see it. Every time Hollywood touched the ball, there was a chance that he was taking it to the house. Every time. He has that athletic ability. We saw that in game 1 against Western Carolina. We saw it a little bit more against Tennessee. He got injured, didn't see it for quite a while. Saw it last week against Syracuse, and everybody's like, oh, Hollywood, that needs to be RB1. Yes, we have been on that train. Today is why. He is one of the most dynamic players on the field every single time he is on it. Yeah. And that is why he got into the end zone and it ended up being the game winner. Yeah. There's so many different ways I could take this because there was a lot of good. There was also a lot of bad, a lot of things to still harp on, but a win is a win and everything feels better when you win. Kenton says that repetitively. The girls are prettier. The food is better. The drinks taste, sweeter.
The ice is colder when you win it.
Colder.
It's colder when you win.
Everything is better when you win. So yes, there was still a lot of things that we're going to harp on a little bit later, but you got to focus on the good right now, and that is winning this ball game. I'm so proud of the effort by CJ Bailey and the defense in the second half. Davin Vann played like a man possessed. He played like a captain, a leader, something we have missed on for the most of the year outside of Davin Vann. He stepped up. He put up the Thanos gauntlet, said, fine, I'll do it myself. And I'll be damned if he didn't. What a performance from Davin Vann. Put the team on his back, much like the rest of the defense. Travali Price had a big sack back there. Bishop Fitzgerald had a couple nice PBUs, almost had a pick or two.
Hell of a game. And was he not the one that forced the fumble as well? Forced the fumble in the game?
I'd have to go back and check that. But just so many big-time plays by the defense, and a lot of them came in the red zone as well. I want to give a lot of credit to the red zone defense for NC State tonight. There were plenty of times where we felt like they were playing a little bit soft, and you start to question Tony Gibson a little bit. They bent and bent and bit, but they did not break. And that's another reason you give yourself a shot to win this game. And despite not forcing what I hoped would be the game-ending turnover, you dug your heels in the dirt enough that you could withstand another drive at the very end. Now, it shouldn't have come to that. And I know I'm scatterbrained because I'm still fired up here, but I want to focus on the good for right now. CJ Bailey, we talked about him having to play better, just a little bit better every single week. You're still seeing freshman mistakes. He's still missing throws, still holding on to the ball for too long, took way too many sacks that, can't happen in a game like this. However, I think he put up his best stat line yet, if I'm not mistaken. 25 of 36, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns.
How many interceptions?
No interceptions.
How many fumbles?
No fumbles. Freshman quarterback on the road. That is outstanding. And it's a game like this one that you sit here and you think about, man, if he's performing like this as a true freshman and he can make the mistakes and then learn from them the rest of the season and the offseason coming back next year, this is why it's so valuable to go all in on a guy like CJ Bailey. Went out and got it done. He was outstanding. Hollywood Smothers, I'll pivot now. Talked a lot about him over the course of the season. Needs to be RB1. Today proves that. That is your RB1. And I saw somebody in the comments asked about Jordan Waters. Jordan Waters is sick. He actually did not travel with the team. So best wishes to Jordan Waters. Hopefully he's feeling better.
Get well soon, brother. Get well soon.
Get well soon. However, Hollywood Smothers is RB1. And that's I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just laying it straight out truth to you. That needs to be RB1. I think one of our keys was to have 12 plus touches, 13 touches. Look what happens. Okay. Casey Concepcion.
Hey, you know what's funny? 13 touches. Just imagine if you take away 2 of those touches. What do you think happens? What do you know? We may know a little bit of ball over here. Proceed, Grayson.
Justin Jolie, I'll go to him next. Only 4 catches, 95 yards, and how many big-time third or fourth down conversions did he have today? I think 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it takes us to get into, third and long, fourth and long situations to target this man. Yeah. But every time we target this man, he delivers. Every single time. Every single time Justin Jolie is there. The Ghostbusters might want to get him on speed dial. He is there every single time when you need to call somebody. Safety blanket supreme. That is what you need for a freshman quarterback to continue to flourish. Outstanding effort from Justin Jolie. And you can say that every week, but man, what tends to happen when you get the ball in the hands of your playmakers? Who could have been predicting this for the last 4, 5, 6 weeks? Imagine what happens. Can't believe it.
And I think that Justin Jolie is beyond the safety blanket for CJ Bailey, because when you think of a safety blanket, you think of the guy that's underneath. He's always there. He's always kind of open and available. He's such a big play threat on top of that. He's a guy that turns 50-50 balls into 70-30 balls. He's the type of guy that, yes, if he's underneath, he could break a tackle or two and make that play special. He's a guy that he does so much more. He's so much more multidimensional than your traditional, either he can get downfield well and make the big catch, or he can make the catches underneath, or he can block and break tackles a little bit. You get all of those things. He's every tight end. It's all in him. And I'm going to need, you said he needs, they need to treat him like Ghostbusters. Well, let me take it to another classic movie from the 80s and 90s. Y'all need to stop treating him like Jada Pinkett was treating Nate and Set It Off. Don't go to him when you're in a bind. Don't say, I'm in a bind, Nate, and you got to find him. Okay? Don't get it to him early. Don't wait till it's 4th and 8. Don't wait till if he can show up with a 20-yarder on 4th and 8, I'm not really going to do a 1st and 10. Maybe you won't even get to 4th. Who knows? And he does this on so few targets. That's the other part of this ball game that's absolutely insane. He doesn't get 8, 9, 10 targets again. He does it off of very, very high efficiency in terms of how many targets he gets and how many big plays he makes. He needs to be gone to when you are in a good space, not just when you're in your foxhole moment and you're like, oh, we're in trouble. We need somebody. Stop it.
Yeah, somebody had tweeted at us in the middle of the game that Jolie needs to be targeted at least once on every single series. I don't think it's that crazy to say like every single play.
It's not ridiculous. It's not ridiculous to say that.
It is that close to a good idea because that's how dynamic he is down the field. Completely changes the outlook of this offense when you can find Justin Jolie downfield. That is by no means a coincidence. We've been harping on it all year because of moments like this. He changes the game for your offense, and it was excellent that he could do it again on so few targets. Quick break here for an ad read. Fellas, we're fired up. Should I read the Hims ad? No, I'm playing. Our first post-game live ad is Gametime. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks, and it makes getting tickets for your favorite live events easier than ever before. Gametime filters out all of the fluff to show you only incredible deals on seats, and you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The curation of Gametime Picks makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, you name it, they got it. Toggling the all-in pricing feature on the app will show your total upfront, so you receive 0 surprises at checkout. And as always, you get that panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect upon arrival. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, and again, create an account and use redeem code LOCKEDONCollege. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? You already know. It's game time. All right. Middle portion of our post-game live here. 24-23 victory. NC State takes down the Cal Bears on the West Coast. Still very weird that this is an ACC game. Although this has been months in the making. We've had the schedule for months. Still very weird to see it come into fruition. But man, I am so proud of the Pack to go all the way out there. A lot of the fan base has given up, understandably so. Not many people have a lot of faith in this team, and yet they find a way to get it done. That is the kind of fight we have been waiting for from this team. You know it was in them, despite losing to Wake Forest, despite losing to Syracuse, Tennessee, Clemson, whoever. You knew that the fight was there. It just, what was it going to take to get it out of them? Finally got it from Cal. And yes, I've seen the people say, well, it took a missed field goal for NC State to win. That is true, but that's football. Cal missed the field goal. What are we supposed to do? Not accept the missed field goal? I mean, NC State's defense stood up when it mattered, although they got a little soft there at the end. It made us grab our seat a little tighter. They stood up when it mattered, and it made a difference in this ballgame.
Hey, listen, if it was fit, Grayson and I would be drunk telling everybody in the comments, hey, we really love y'all, man. That's what we would be doing right now. But the real world is the real world. If we didn't get 3 turnovers in terms of if we didn't get 3 turnovers last game when you're in the 30, if we didn't have an interception where it bounces off a guy's hands, if we didn't have a fumble where it wasn't even a particularly hard hit, ifs don't matter. We have to live in the real world. And in the real world, we won this football game.
Yes.
Period. That's all that happened here. And I want to talk about something for just a second here, okay? I talk about how, hey, throw on first down, keep these teams off rhythm a lot, right? I'm going to read you the first down plays on every single first down of our touchdown drives. First down, so the second quarter touchdown, which was our first of the game. The first down, CJ Bailey pass complete to Noah Rogers for 6 yards. Second first down was after a 31-yard pass on 4th down, and we were at the 1-yard line. We attempted to run it with Kendrick Raphael. But again, we're at the 1. Things like that happen. The next 2 drives, first down, 7-yard pass to Dakari Collins, 28-yard pass from Concepcion to Smothers, incomplete pass from CJ Bailey, and that was the last first down of that drive. The last drive, CJ Bailey pass incomplete. CJ Bailey pass complete to Dakari Collins for 13 yards. CJ Bailey pass incomplete. And that was the last first down on that drive. So I need y'all to understand when I say it is so vitally important to show team. There is such a predictability to Dave Doran teams doing 3 things: running the ball on first down, running quarterback draws, running screens. Don't get me wrong. All 3 of those things have a place. They have a place in time.
Yeah.
But on this team in particular, it's not the place for a lot of those things.
Yeah.
If we're looking at this team, we ran the ball profusely. Even if we take away CJ Bailey's numbers, because most of his numbers were deeply influenced by sacks, right? Outside of CJ Bailey, we have 15 rushes for 36 yards. That is less than 3 yards per carry. With all due respect, we've seen what we've seen. We know what we know about this team. Keep throwing the ball. Also, CJ Bailey is built like my pinky finger. Let's stop running the ball with him. Let's stop. We already have, and I'm going to say it, normally I don't like to call out players, but I'm going to say it. We already have Belton over there protecting his blind side, if you can call that protection.
Yeah.
We already have that. Every time there's a penalty, every time there's a blindside sack, every time something goes wrong on the offensive line, I can look up and say, what are the odds it's 74 on the case? What are the odds? We already have that. Why are you putting him in more harm's way? Okay? And this is the last thing I'm going to say, because I talked about Belton the way the scouts talked about Belton coming into the year. Big bag year, the peaks showed how good he could be when he was truly on, but then there were some moments that were off. This year has felt like a constant tragedy of errors from him. It's felt like a low-light compilation from him. And if I'm Touche, it feels like you got to get somebody else in that left tackle spot, or you might be coaching for your job, brother.
Yeah.
Because he's killing you. He's not doing good things in the most pivotal spot of the O-line. Again, yes, CJ Bailey did hold the ball for too long at times, but then I'll be happy with a freshman that's saying, you know what, I'm going to make some I'm gonna make the best read possible. I'm gonna make a way because I don't have the timing and comfortability to throw with anticipation. I'm gonna wait till they hit open window. I'll be okay with that. What I'm not okay with is a 5th-year senior getting beat like a drum constantly.
Yeah, 2 things I want to touch on you talked about, and I'll stick right there on Belton first. I'm shocked. I'm truly shocked at how poor his play has been so far this year. This is a lot of folks were considering like a first-round draft pick coming into the season. His play has unfortunately been so far from that mark, whether that's missed blocks, not being able to sustain blocks, or costly penalties, time after time after time again. And it's even reached the point where it's a little bit of a joke on Twitter. Like, how many times is NC State going to have a productive run only for it to get called back? We've reached the point where it's not funny anymore because it keeps happening. How many times is this going to happen before an adjustment of some sort is made? That is simply unacceptable from really anybody, but let alone your guy that's supposed to be your dog on the offensive line. It's really been disappointing to see. And I hope it can get sorted out sooner than later, because if not, I mean, I feel bad for AB because he really is costing himself a lot of money. NFL teams are going to notice about how poor the play has been. We know he has it in him. Don't know where the execution has been this year, and that's been difficult to see. The other part you talked about, and I had tweeted this about this as well. CJ Bailey being used so often in quarterback draw, or sometimes it's a read option. Shocked at how often we're doing that. And again, I want to make sure, because one thing you don't do is ever, and I mean ever, doubt a Thomas brother. I'm shocked at how often we're running CJ when we really don't have any quarterback depth behind him. Grayson McCall, whether he's cleared or not, should not step foot on this field again this year. So that leaves Lex Thomas behind CJ. With all due respect to Lex and the Thomas family, you are NC State legends, and this is not derogatory at all. I don't want to see Lex Thomas in the game with the game on the line. We need to keep CJ as healthy as we possibly can. Now, I'm not saying get soft with CJ and keep the training wheels off him. He's a good enough athlete that he can go get you a first down when you need him to. And he did that a couple times in this game, and that was excellent to see. But repetitive, quarterback draws, you're asking for it. You really are asking for trouble here. So I don't need it. I think you throw that into the pile with the KC screenplays. Just scrap it altogether, please. We're not getting anywhere with it. It hasn't been productive all year, and yet and still we're just pounding it into the back of our offensive line over and over and over. It's the definition of insanity. Not going to work. What is working, back to the positives here, the passing game. CJ Bailey throws for 306 yards. Not all the passing yards, because KC had 28 of those on the reverse throw. That was good. I love seeing KC down the field yet again. It seems like they've taken the KC screenplays to heart. I don't think we got a single one of them in this game, only got him downfield. And it works. It works. Imagine that. It works. When your best players are in open space, it is a living nightmare for opposing defenses to try and figure out. There's a reason we talked so much about that entering the season. When you create a situation where the defense has to literally pick if they want to hone in on Justin Jolie or Casey Concepcion, they are in a lose-lose situation. And I don't know why it's taken us 8 weeks to finally start to get into that territory. It's so frustrating, but I won't harp on that too much longer. A third thing, actually, you mentioned, I'll also comment on. Robert and I know there's a lot of people that say, I think Coach Dorn has his hands in the offensive play calling a bit too much. On some level, I do believe that to be true, because I think there is a common denominator. When you look at the course of all the offensive coordinators at NC State, you're getting relatively the same product regardless of who's on the sticks. So I think there is some truth there. But Robert and I was so close to sending this tweet off. I don't know if I want to say it out loud, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. I was close to firing off that I think he's close to coaching for his job, because there was a lot of incompetency in this game. Not utilizing your weapons and not being able to win a game with only 10 points. I thought, heading into the fourth quarter, it was looking like it was going to be curtains. And in fact, I even tweeted that out because the offense was just so inept all day long. It's just slow and unproductive. I'm like, man, I've seen this story before. And then we break off, Hollywood Smothers a couple times and Justin Jolie a couple times. I'm like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. And then we finally got there. So I'm going to hold off on that take for a little bit longer, but just know, Robert, I got it in the holster. The offense in the end was good enough. And I'll
Yeah.
take it in this game. I'm not going to harp too much about a win because we have been dying to get one of these things. So
Hey,
good.
And when you look at the arc of all of our scoring drives, right? Let's look at all of our scoring drives and whose hands the ball was in. Kendrick Raphael, CJ Bailey, Kevin Concepcion, Noah Rogers, CJ Bailey, Wesley Grimes, and we got CJ Bailey and a field goal. And then after that, you have on the touchdown drive, you have Noah Rogers, Kendrick Raphael, Bailey, Jolie, Raphael, Concepcion. And then the 2 touchdown drives to end the game off. You've got Dakari Collins, Smothers, Jolie, Smothers, incomplete pass, Smothers, Collins. And then our last touchdown drive of the game, the final one, you've got Jolie, Collins, Concepcion, Smothers, and that's your ball game right there. You notice how that list of names was so much shorter than what our rotations were earlier this year? That's what it needs to be. With all due respect, you need to play the guys that make plays. And that's no disrespect to the guys who, hey, I'm sure they're practicing their behinds off, the guys that you put in the game and you try to give them a look here and there. I'm sure they are. At the end of the day, you have to know who's going to win you football games. At the end of the day, you got to know that. Oh, Noah Rogers fumbled. Oh, Wesley Grimes has not caught in some passes that could have been massive. Oh, KC has had some drops this year. Oh, don't give a damn about none of that.
Yeah.
I don't give a piss about nothing but the pack. No, but in all seriousness, I don't care that these guys are not perfect. There's not a single player in the recorded history of football that's going to be perfect. I'm a Lions fan, and do you know who one of the most prolific running backs was in terms of runs for lost yards? Barry Sanders. Would you not trust that guy with the ball just because he did bad things every now and then? These guys are special. Wesley Grimes is special. KC is special. Noah Rogers is special. Get them the ball and get out of the way. There are plenty of talented players on this team. There's a delineation between those guys that are going to be playing on Sundays. Guys that we know we can watch it and say, oh, he's going to be somebody's draft pick. And those who aren't. That's what it is. That's what it is. Keep the rotations short. We are toward the end of the season. We're past the midway point. So you know who everybody is. You got proven commodities all over the field. So for these last 4 games, I want to see the proven commodities get the ball. I want to see that at a high level. And the last thing I'll say is this. The linebacking core was not perfect. In the beginning of the game, I thought to myself, y'all going to make me pull out hair I don't even have. But they got it together. And not just the linebacking core. The deal with me in this defense is this. This was the best effort in terms of pure effort. 100%. In terms of pure exertion and how much am I giving? Am I giving you everything I've got? They gave it all. They laid it all out on the line tonight. And it's not just because they won, because even if they lost this game, I would say this is the best effort we've seen. And this is actually the last thing. I'm sorry for saying last thing last time, but this is the actual last thing. This is a team and this is a schedule that a lot like I said last year after Duke. Every game's winnable. Every game's losable. Who do you want to be?
And for that reason, I think although it is late in the season, this bye week that they're about to go into, it comes at a really good time. You come in with a win. You can reassess all the things you've been seeing for the last 8 weeks, and then hopefully you use that for good and just dump it out the last 4. But one more quick ad read before we get you out of here on the Saturday evening. Our second live ad is FanDuel. NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. When you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the very same page that you place all of your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place just your first $5 bet. You're going to have to wait an additional week to place another bet on NC State as they go into a bye. But don't be too sad. NC State basketball is on the horizon. in the bye week coming up next week, we'll touch a little bit on NC State basketball. But to do all that in the meantime, head on over to FanDuel.com in order to get started. All right, last couple of minutes here, Saturday night, post-game live. We'll get you out of here to enjoy the rest of your evening. I know the NC State Fair is now in town. I've seen some people in the comments saying they were all the way out in Berkeley enjoying this game. What a weekend, finally, to be a fan of the NC State Wolfpack. Everything feels so much better. But I do want to make one thing clear. This win, it feels good. It feels good to win one. It really doesn't change much of what I was talking about on Friday. Big picture doesn't really mean a lot. However, to keep the team morale, relatively where it is, something like this can mean a lot. Something like this, a game like this, and a win like this can really help redirect where the season may or may not have been going. And I think, Kenton, that was a perfect way to put it. With the Duke game last year, you had that reevaluation period. It was also going into a bye, and the team decided for the last 5 games, they're going to scrap what didn't work, keep what did work, scrap what didn't work, keep what does work, and then just dump it out for the last 5. We know how that went last year. NC State is now finding themselves in a similar spot. Every game is winnable. Every game is losable. There are no Tennessees or Clemsons or Alabamas on our schedule for the last 4. Every single game that's on our schedule is winnable. And I've seen plenty of flaws in all 4 teams that we have to play. So if NC State can compound this win, build on this, rally behind CJ. He's playing better every week, and the skill players playing better every week. The defense finally showed some intensity and closed out a game. Build on that, because that is something. That can be something if you position it correctly. So good to see NC State finally win again. It feels like forever, but here we are now at 4-4 entering the bye. Nowhere close to where we all hoped it would be, but at this point of the season, you take every single win you can get. The player improvement, it's getting there. You take every single win you can get. And for that reason, super glad that CJ Bailey was one of the higher rated guys in this game. He is a reason that you win this game, a true freshman. That is so valuable moving forward.
Y'all know my 3 quarterback categories: a guy that you win because of, a guy that you win with, a guy that you win in spite of. I expect freshmen to generally be in those latter 2 categories. I expect you to win in spite of the freshmen sometimes, or like with them, like, oh, he was all right, I guess. CJ's making big time throws, man.
Absolutely.
He's making big time throws. And of course, you have the freshman moments where you get some inconsistency. Like I remember that swing pass to KC. I was a little rough and all that. But you're getting a guy that's growing up. He's learning how to do this the right way. And I'll tell you, I don't think he's building bad habits while in this mode of figuring it out. I really don't. I don't think that he's building really terrible, like, oh, I'm just kind of wheeling and dealing and one dropping or one read and pull the ball down and go. He's building good habits. He's building things that, again, with an off season and with trust, he will start to throw with anticipation, hopefully. That's the hope there. But right now, I don't think it's a bad idea to say, throw it open window. And if I don't got one, maybe I need to hold the ball a little bit. I'm all right with that. And the biggest thing that I saw in this game that most people may not talk about a lot, KC looks like he's having fun again.
Finally.
KC looks like he's having fun again, because there were some times this season where I was just like, oh, Lord, please don't let that boy hit the portal. Don't let that man. Don't let you Big Ten and SEC teams, keep your grubby little fingers away from my Concepcion. Keep them away from both of them. Keep your fingers away from both of them. But in all seriousness, I look at this and I say to myself, not only was he having fun, the offense was having fun.
Yeah.
As a unit and as a group, all of those guys are having fun. And we finally figured out, hey, we're not going to get it to him via screens. We're not going to get it to him that way. We still figure out a lot of great ways to get him the ball. We still figure it out. So, I enjoy seeing this. I enjoy what I saw out of the offense on our scoring drives. I'm not going to sit here and say the entire drive. And even on some of our scoring drives, when we got to the red zone and we, started to do some things on that one drive where it was a shovel pass and all that, and I was just like, what's going on here? We are starting to find our way. And again, this isn't about Cal, because like I've said all year, because I know a certain team's fans are probably still in here from earlier this year, even though their team is enthralled in a very close game right now. Hello, Vols. Hello, Vol Twitter. Nice to see you all again. It has always been about state. It has always been about how do you play the game? How are you showing up? Are you doing the little things correctly? And more often than not, the little things are done correctly in this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, perfectly said there. There's so many things to take from this game. Still a lot to work on, and I would hope that they will in this bye week, but so many things over the course of the season. When you crunch them down all in this game, there's so much improvement to be proud of. And so I'm happy for the staff. I'm happy for the players, happy for CJ, happy for the leaders. Davin Van, again, cannot emphasize how much of a monster he was at the end of this game. That's what leaders do. Leaders lead. And that's exactly what Davin Van did for the defense in the second half of this game, and it made a difference. So happy for the Wolfpack, happy for the fans, man. Enjoy this. And I know it's just beating Cal, and Cal had the same record as we do, and it's not that big of a deal. Every win should be celebrated, all of them. Doesn't matter who you're playing, doesn't matter what week it is, doesn't matter the rest of the circumstances. We won this game. It feels so good to get off of the schneid. We go into a bye week, get back in the lab, and then it's right back at it. Still work to do. You're going to hope they get after it. That's all we really got to say here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Of course, the NC State Fair is in town. If you happen to see the two of us walking around, say hey. We don't bite. We're friendly folks. Pack fans always. We'll see you all on Monday. Much more to discuss from this game and a little basketball talk, maybe even some fall baseball talk coming up. Whole lot of different things to discuss during the bye week. Thank you all so much for joining us post-game live. Very grateful every time we do one of these, and we see a ton of people in here in the comments. Means the world to us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We will see you back here on Monday for more. And until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.